All right, so just a quick disclaimer. I tried to work just on screen with the keyboard and my tablet, and it was cute. It just can't be done. I just need to work on the panel, and this just gets to tell you, especially coming from a professional colorist, that even at my level, it's hard for me to create looks using this and doing one thing at a time. Like, I really need to be moving two things at once, because if I'm on my panel, I'm doing this. Like, I'm moving 2, 3, 4 things at once, and that's literally the difference between you grading in 10 minutes or for it to take you 30, 40, 50 minutes to dial in one look. And that's just not how it works realistically. You guys will still be able to see. I'm gonna do a better job sticking on the actual screen where the stuff is gonna be happening. So, and I'm gonna commentate. So let's just say if I'm using my gain and gamma, I'm gonna say that, hey, I'm raising my gain, I'm bringing my gamma down, or I'm doing the opposite. So I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna spell that out while it's happening, and you guys can watch right here and follow along that way. And I do a pretty good job commentating, so I'm gonna keep it that way. But other than that, guys, I will highly recommend you guys to, if you guys don't have the money and you can't spare more than $300, you can get Tangent Ripple, and it's a $300 control surface that only gives you these wheels. And honestly, you see me doing a lot of the magic in primaries, and as we go further along this module, you're gonna see that a lot of the stuff is gonna be dialed in using these wheels and everything. So just a quick little thing that I wanted to let you guys know before we get in. This particular lesson is gonna be on holiday season commercial, which is this right here. I'm gonna pop it open, so I'm gonna be creating that look with this. So the biggest challenge is that, you know, the skin tones are going to be completely different, because we got an African American girl here and then we have an Asian girl here, and their skin tones are nothing alike. But we also know that even African American skin tones should not look like this. So we know that there's a lot of grading happening for it to be this pinkish, fun holiday season, but with the hint of warmth, like that look. There's still a lot going on to get to this point, and it's not just a straight, like, you know, where, oh, this is what her skin looks like. That's not what it is. So we're gonna try to stay loyal to this look, and we're gonna push even her look from olive, which is the true skin color of her skin tone. We're gonna take that and we're gonna move it over and bring it in that world, and then we're gonna face some challenges with our buddy over here. Little kids are just, when they're this little, their skin is just all kinds of color and there's tons of discoloration. So I'm going to show you a couple of quick tips, but our hero here is her, not him in this particular shot. But we're just going to make sure that, you know, he looks less of an alien. So let's get going. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to go with my basic primary corrections. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my lift down. I'm going to raise my gain. Try to get it in the ballpark, just somewhere around there, not too much, somewhere like that. And then I'm going to start adding some contrast just to give it that nice soft look. And I'm going to raise my gamma as I do that, because I want everything to kind of live up there. And I'm going to give it a little bit more contrast, but then I think I'm going to park it there for now. Like somewhere around here. I'm going to raise my gain a little bit, and now let's add saturation, and I want to keep it, let's just see, I want to bring it down to maybe 70-ish, or let's do 70-ish, yeah, maybe 65 for now, and then we'll see how everything goes. So now that we got our contrast down, I'm gonna use this right here, my primaries wheels, to get as close as possible to this look DNA. So let's go. I'm gonna take my lift and bring it down, because there's just like too much color that I'm seeing. So already this is looking really good. I just brought it down a touch, just a touch. I'm gonna take my gamma and I'm gonna lift it and give it that pink. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my gain and I'm gonna move it toward a little bit cooler tones, just to suck some of this color out and try to match it, bring it in that world, and we're doing that. And now I'm gonna counter that with my lift, bring it down more, to see there's like a little bit of a bluish pink in the hair, not necessarily a bluish pink, but like undertone, and that's what I'm trying to create with mine too, and I think we're getting there. So that right there is looking pretty good. I mean, if you look at this, so I mean, we can work on that. So I'm going to take my gain. I'm going to take my gain and I'm going to pull it down to just to make it a little bit crisper and bring it into that world. And I think we did that. So now if you look at the whites there and the whites here, they're looking very, very similar through and through. There's tons of detail that's preserved, so we're not losing anything. And above all, I'm going to show you this, which is going to blow your mind. So if you look down here and where we started, so this side is our graph, and then this side is obviously the graded version, this right here. And look how far we've come. And I know now you're looking at the bottom and you're thinking that we have some work to do there, and sure we do, but for primaries run, we came pretty close. This is pretty close. There's still work to do, so let's just get right into it. So now what I want to do is I'm gonna grab her skin. So let's go ahead and pick her skin out, and yeah, it's kind of messy. And I'm gonna move it around where we just grab the skin and try to cover that up as much as possible. And I'm not concerned with the little dude because I'm just gonna put a window on her, and then alright, so now let's just give it tons of softness, and then let me just play it through and see how clean it is. So it's actually really clean. So let me do this. I want to see where I'm not grabbing this little buddy. If I can have him, if I can pick this area, let me just try to pick it and see what happens. Okay, that's what happens. So that we can't do. So this is a pretty solid key. Look, like nothing. That's the beauty of like working with 16-bit camera. This is shot with Alexa in ProRes 444XQ, and this is what happens when you shoot with those high-end cameras. It's just insane. So I'm gonna come out of here. I'm gonna come out of my highlights here, and now that we have grabbed that, I'm not worried about him. We're just focusing on her and her. So I'm gonna start off by raising the highlights to give her that pop, and then I'm gonna take my midtones and raise them to that pink. So I'm using my gain and my gamma. So my gamma is going towards that pink, and my gain is going towards a little bit of yellow and red. So this is before, this is after. Just look at these skin tones, and if you look at it in relation to how close we're getting, and this is all clean. I mean, there's nothing happening that's deteriorating or anything like that. I can play it through and you guys can see it and how big of a difference that is. And once again, I know the skin tone for her should be in this world, but we're trying to match that because an African American lady's skin tone should not be in this world. But because there is no real world, we're creating looks. You just create an image however you like and then keep it in that world once you have it. So this is looking really good, and it has enough pop and everything that I like. I'm gonna give it a little bit of saturation, but if I don't like it, I'm gonna pull it back. So I think I like a little bit of it, so I'm gonna leave it on. And honestly, if I'm honest with you, I'm not minding our little buddy. I think whatever we're putting on him is popping him out and giving him some life. So I had other plans to work on him and change that up a little bit, but I think for now I'm gonna keep that. Although her skin is too flawless and doesn't really need any treatment here. Like genuinely, I don't think I need to give it anything. It's really, really impressive and it's really good. So I'm gonna leave her skin as is. But what we can do is I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna create another node. It's gonna be a parallel node because again, we wanna blend these in. I'm gonna grab our little guy here and make sure that you select the picker and then grab our little guy and let's try to restrict it as much as possible to like really just grab him, but if we can't, then we're just gonna go and grab whatever else. And let's do this. So if I do that, I can get pretty tight on him and then just give it a lot of softness. And now this is what I want to do. So I'm gonna go to my first frame. I'm gonna create a window and it's gonna be a pretty tight window, guys. So it's gonna be a window like that and we're gonna keep it somewhere around here. We're gonna give it a little bit of softness and that's it. And now we're gonna track it. Okay, so I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna track it forward. And Resolve nails the tracking every time, never surprised. This is amazing. So now we're gonna come out of that and look what I'm gonna do. So I wanna do a couple of things. Here's this $1 million technique right here. Your midtone, if you go in the negative, it does like a beauty effect. And look what happens. I'm gonna go back and look how it softens them quite a bit. And if I do before and after, just look how his skin is just softened quite a bit. If I do before and after, see, so it's taking the discoloration and it's kind of taking care of it. And another thing I can do, I can try to do, I don't know if it's gonna work, but in color boost, we can just pull back just a little bit. I actually don't really like it, so I'm gonna undo that. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go under hue versus hue. We're gonna take our red and we're gonna push it a little bit until he's not so pink, and that does that. That pulls them out of that a little bit, and then we're just gonna go under, I think, plain saturation, and we're just gonna try to bring it down. Just a touch, guys. Subtlety is everything when it comes to color grading. Do not forget that. So last thing that I want to do, I want to take my glow. I want to drop that glow on him. I mean, kids are angels, so let's just go all the way with that story. Now if I turn these two on and off, look how much work is being done. Here's our primary, and I think we're just there. One idea I'm gonna keep hammering in, guys, and that is, if we nail the look this quick, if we went from this to that fast, and we're nailing it, don't overwork it. This is good. Just move on, because you got a full spot that you got to grade. It was shot with Alexa. We didn't need to do 60 different keys and vignettes and this and that and the other thing. We're in. We're dialed in. Everything is looking great. This is our look. We can move on, because if I look at this, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of crazy vignetting or anything going on. And same thing is happening over here. One thing that we can do though is that I can go in and create a little bit of a vignette around her and just pop her out just a tiny bit. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make this smaller a little bit. I'm just gonna do one of these. It's gonna be something like that. And we're gonna keep it more on her because we don't want to spill anything onto him because he's already up there. So now I'm gonna pop that open to see what's happening, and I'm gonna go under my custom curves and I'm just gonna pop her a little bit and see what happens. So let's see. So that was kind of nice. I mean, that's honestly, it is kind of nice. So it just pops her out a little bit, and then what we can do with that window, again, track it. So we're just gonna go boom forward, finish that, and then go back and track it backwards. And it's tracked and it's locked in, and it just pops her out a little bit. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna use grain in this one because this one is just supposed to be glossy and really clean. So we're gonna keep it that way, high key look. We're gonna keep it that way, but I'm gonna go in here and add noise reduction because come on, you know you're seeing this. Whether you're using Alexa, you're using Red, you're always gonna run into these things. And as a good colorist, you need to detect it, minimize it. And in this one, I know that it's Alexa, so it's not going to need much. So I'm just going to go in and do something like that. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do this. And now if I make it full screen and I punch in, and you guys look at that, like, I mean, it's before and after, before and after. It's looking pretty good. This is kind of a sweet spot, to be honest with you. So before and after, and if I do a playback, I mean, it's really, really clean. So there you have it. That is this look, recreated very simply, very gently, and we did that very efficiently. And now one thing that I want to do just to take it up a notch is I want to add some glow to our entire thing, just to kind of make it more angelic. Like I said, you know, a lot of the times it's going to add this sort of like a pro mist filter if you have it on your camera, like sometimes you use it for these kind of shoots, you know. So it just, like, look at this, it just evens out everything and give it, like, look at that. So it just makes it more pristine and makes the whole thing really, really clean. So in that example, I will definitely recommend using the glow instead of, let's just say, grain, because this spot we want to keep it super clean. So we went from this, we went from that. So let's just cover this up. We started here, we ended up here, and that's our holiday season look. There you have it. All right, so this is for Oakley, another commercial example, and this is one of my favorite. I love it so much. It's the color pop is just so nice. And this is Brian Smoller's signature. He is a Company 3 colorist and does a really phenomenal job, and that's sort of his signature, like just tons of freaking color. He does not shy away from that, so I love that. So what I'm gonna do is just, let's go and create that. I'm gonna bring my lift down, bring my gamma up, lift down, gamma up, and then start creating some contrast. And there's a lot of contrast in his image, so gamma up, gain up somewhere around here, more contrast somewhere around here, gamma up, gain down, gamma up, gain down, and alright, for now this contrast is looking good. Let's start adding color. I need a lot of separation to pull clean keys, so I think this is good. This will do it. And let's see. I think we can do a little bit more with contrast, but we'll do that in our later nodes. So for now, I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull him. So let's create a key on him, and then let's go and see what we can do to make it really clean. And then I'm gonna go here and see. It could be fine here, and then nope, and then just give it a lot of blur. That should do it. And now I'm gonna pop her in and see what we can do to get there. So I'm gonna take my gain and move it toward that red that he's adding into her skin. And I think for our African American gentleman, it's gonna be somewhere around here where it's gonna look realistic and not too crazy. So I'm gonna leave it there for now, and then I'm gonna create a parallel node, and in that node I'm gonna go ahead and select this guy, but I'm gonna show you again. Alright, so one thing that's gonna be important here to know is that get your primary balance right. So like right now, my highs are sitting right here, but I want to match the blue. I want to match one of the top things here because that's going to come in handy when we're going to be pulling keys. So let's raise that, and I'm going to bring it somewhere around here. And the contrast and everything is still looking good. Let's just make sure our key is looking good. Our key is good. Now we can come in here. I'm gonna go ahead and qualify my sky, and then it does a pretty good job as is, so I'm gonna leave it for now, and then I'm gonna go in and start dialing in my colors. I'm gonna be using my custom curves to really dial it in. And then I'm gonna go into my node key tab, and I'm gonna start blending everything in. So just watch what I'm doing and try it for yourself too. I'm blending everything in. I'm gonna come into my sat versus sat and try to bring down the low saturated areas. Then I'm gonna go back and keep working at it until I'm getting pretty close. And I think we're starting to see it take some shape. Alright, so it took a little bit to just get it in the ballpark, but I feel like finally we're getting somewhere. So now it's looking pretty good. So the thing that I really need to clean up here is I'm noticing there, look at this right here, and there's a lot of spillage that's happening. So I'm gonna do this, and right there we can see what's happening. So this area should not be selected. So I'm just gonna go in and do this. I'm gonna go in just like that, clean that up, and go in and just add some blending. And that's that. And then let's come out of here, and that's clean. So that's what we needed to do to really get rid of that spillage that was happening there. And now it's looking nice and clean, and we're ready. And then one more thing that I want to do, let me just bring my image back up, and I'm gonna do this. And one more thing that I want to do is I just want to give it a little bit more juice. So I'm going to use my color boost and see if that does anything. And I think it really does. Now another thing that we just figured out what's happening is, which we actually don't see there. So let's do this. Oh no, it's fine. Let's turn this on. Yeah, it's totally fine. Okay, so if we bring, see, sometimes it does a weird thing when I go, yeah, so that's really tripping out right now. So if I look right here, I can also see one more thing, that it's just a little bit warmer than my image. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my gain and move it to that. Move it, see, just a little bit towards green, yellow, and now it's adding that last touch. And I think that's looking really, really good. Now what I wanna do is obviously grain, go down, keep it here, give it a little bit. So that's our final. We can obviously go into our skin and just give it a little bit more red, like really exaggerate it. How it's exaggerated right here. I'm gonna pull it back just a little bit, open this up, put it right here, and then yep. So that's our final image. And let's not forget to add sharpening. So I'm just gonna go right here and just do 47. Really adds that extra last touch. And that's it. We're calling it